Welcome to my YouTube channel, InfiniteSource. Unlocking the power of knowledge and wisdom. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel.
The question of God's existence is not one that can be answered definitively, as it ultimately comes down to personal beliefs and perspectives. However, throughout history, people have put forward various arguments for and against the existence of God. Let's explore some of these arguments in more detail. One of the most well-known arguments for the existence of God is the cosmological argument. This argument asserts that everything in the universe has a cause, and that cause must be something that exists outside of the universe. This cause, according to proponents of the cosmological argument, is God. This argument has been put forward by many thinkers throughout history, including Aristotle, Thomas Aquinas, and Leibniz. Another argument for the existence of God is the teleological argument. This argument asserts that the universe is too complex and too finely tuned to have arisen by chance. According to proponents of the teleological argument, the complexity and precision of the universe point towards the existence of a creator who designed it all. This argument has been put forward by many thinkers throughout history, including William Paley. One of the most famous arguments against the existence of God is the problem of evil. This argument asserts that if God is all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-good, then there should be no evil in the world. The fact that there is evil, according to proponents of the problem of evil, suggests that God does not exist. This argument has been put forward by many thinkers throughout history, including Epicurus, David Hume, and J.L. Another argument against the existence of God is the argument from non-belief. This argument asserts that if God exists, then everyone should believe in Him. The fact that there are people who do not believe in God, according to proponents of the argument from non-belief, suggests that God does not exist. This argument has been put forward by many thinkers throughout history, including J.L. Of course, these are just a few of the many arguments that have been put forward on both sides of the debate. There are many other arguments and counter-arguments that could be explored in greater detail. In addition to the arguments for and against the existence of God, there are also many different perspectives on what God is and what God's nature might be. For example, some people believe in a personal God who intervenes in the world in response to prayer. Others believe in a more abstract concept of God as a force that underlies the universe. and still others reject the idea of God altogether. Scientists and scholars have also weighed in on the question of God's existence. Many scientists, particularly those in the fields of physics and cosmology, have explored the nature of the universe and the laws that govern it. Some have suggested that these laws point towards the existence of a creator or designer. Others, however, have suggested that the universe can be explained entirely through natural processes and that there is no need for a creator. In addition to scientists, philosophers, and theologians have also contributed to the debate. Another argument for the existence of God is the argument for morality. This argument posits that there is an objective moral standard that exists, and that the only explanation for this standard is the existence of God. According to this argument, if God does not exist, then there is no basis for objective morality. However, most people believe in the existence of objective morality, and therefore, the argument for morality is often used as evidence for the existence of God. There are also many arguments against the existence of God. One of the most well-known of these arguments is the problem of evil. This argument states that the existence of evil in the world is incompatible with the existence of an all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good God. The argument goes that if God were all-powerful, he could prevent evil from existing. If he were all-knowing, he would know about the evil in the world, and if he were all-good, he would want to prevent the existence of evil. Therefore, the existence of evil is evidence against the existence of God. Another argument against the existence of God is the argument from ignorance. This argument states that just because we cannot explain something, it does not mean that God exists. For example, in the past, people could not explain thunder and lightning, and they attributed it to the wrath of God. However, as science progressed, we now understand the natural causes of thunder and lightning. Therefore, just because we cannot explain something, it does not mean that God exists. There are many other arguments for and against the existence of God, and it is ultimately up to each individual to decide for themselves what they believe. Some scientists and scholars have weighed in on the debate as well. For example, physicist Stephen Hawking famously wrote in his book The Grand Design that the universe can be explained without the need for a God. He argued that the laws of physics and the properties of the universe are sufficient to explain its existence. However, Other scientists and scholars have argued for the existence of God. For example, philosopher William Lane Craig has put forth the Calum cosmological argument, which states that everything that begins to exist must have a cause, and that the universe began to exist, therefore it must have a cause. Craig argues that the cause of the universe must be an uncaused, timeless, spaceless, and immaterial being, which he identifies as God. Another philosopher, Alvin Plantinga, has argued for the existence of God using the ontological argument. This argument states that it is possible for God to exist, and that if it is possible for God to exist, then God must exist in some possible world. Therefore, God exists in the actual world. Here are some more arguments and insights regarding the existence of God. Argument for morality. Many philosophers argue that the existence of objective moral values and duties in the world requires the existence of God. The basic idea is that if God does not exist, then there is no basis for objective moral values and duties. However, objective moral values and duties do exist, so God must exist. The fine-tuning argument. This argument states that the universe appears to be finely tuned for life, with many of its physical constants and laws being set just right to allow for the existence of complex, intelligent life. Some scientists and philosophers argue that the best explanation for this apparent fine-tuning is the existence of a designer or creator who intentionally set the values of these constants and laws. The argument from consciousness. Some philosophers argue that the existence of human consciousness is best explained by the existence of God. The basic idea is that consciousness is non-physical and cannot be reduced to purely physical processes, which suggests that there must be a non-physical, immaterial entity, such as God, that can account for it. The argument from religious experience. Many people report having religious experiences, such as feelings of awe, transcendence, or connection with a divine presence. While these experiences cannot prove the existence of God, some argue that they provide evidence that God exists, or at least suggest the possibility of God's existence. The problem of evil. One of the most common arguments against the existence of God is the problem of evil, which asks how a perfectly good and powerful God could allow evil and suffering to exist in the world. Some philosophers argue that the existence of evil is incompatible with the existence of God, while others offer various explanations for how God could allow evil to exist. The cosmological argument. This argument states that everything that exists has a cause, and therefore there must be a first cause or uncaused cause that started the chain of causation. Some philosophers and theologians argue that this first cause is God. The ontological argument. This argument states that the concept of God necessarily entails existence, and therefore God must exist. While this argument is controversial and has been criticized by many philosophers, some still find it compelling. Argument from design. This argument suggests that the complexity and order of the universe are evidence of a creator. Supporters of this argument point to the intricate details and precise laws that govern our universe, arguing that they could not have arisen by chance. The argument from naturalism. This argument suggests that naturalism provides a sufficient explanation for the existence and workings of the universe. Supporters argue that natural laws can explain the order and complexity of the universe, without the need for a supernatural creator. The argument from the existence of multiple religions. This argument suggests that the existence of multiple religions, each claiming to have exclusive access to the truth about God, makes it unlikely that any one religion is correct. Critics argue that the existence of competing religious claims suggests that religion is a human construct, rather than a reflection of divine revelation. The argument from the problem of non-belief. This argument suggests that the existence of widespread non-belief in God is evidence against God's existence. Critics argue that if God existed and wanted people to believe in Him, He would make His existence more obvious and would not allow so many people to lack belief. These are just a few of the many arguments for and against the existence of God. Ultimately, the question of God's existence is one that each individual must grapple with and decide for themselves based on their own experiences, beliefs, and values. Here are some additional insights from scientists, philosophers, and scholars on the existence of God. Albert Einstein. Einstein was known for his deep appreciation for the natural world and the order he observed within it. While he did not believe in a personal God, he believed in the concept of Spinoza's God, which was more akin to the laws of nature. In a letter to a friend, he wrote, "I believe in Spinoza's God who reveals himself in the orderly harmony of what exists, not in a God who concerns himself with fates and actions of human beings." Immanuel Kant. Kant believed that the existence of God could not be proven through empirical evidence or reason alone. Instead, he argued that the existence of God was a necessary postulate of practical reason, in that belief in God was necessary for morality and the pursuit of the highest good. David Hume. Hume was a Scottish philosopher who argued against the existence of God. He believed that we cannot know anything about the nature of God through reason alone, and that any belief in God must be based on faith alone. William Paley. Paley was an English theologian who believed that the complexity and design of the natural world pointed towards the existence of an intelligent creator. He used the example of a watch to argue that just as a watch has a maker, so too must the universe have a creator. Thomas Aquinas. Aquinas was a medieval philosopher and theologian who developed the cosmological argument for the existence of God. This argument states that everything in the universe has a cause, and that ultimately there must be an uncaused cause, which he identified as God. Richard Dawkins. Dawkins is a contemporary biologist and atheist who argues against the existence of God. He believes that the complexity of the natural world can be explained through the process of evolution, and that the existence of God is not necessary to explain the origins of the universe. Bertrand Russell. Russell was a British philosopher who argued against the existence of God. He believed that there was no evidence to support the existence of God, and that any belief in God was based on faith alone. Blaise Pascal. Pascal was a French mathematician and philosopher who developed Pascal's wager, an argument for the existence of God. This argument states that it is better to believe in God, even if there is no proof of his existence, because the potential reward of an afterlife in heaven is greater than the potential loss of disbelief. William James. American philosopher and psychologist William James argued that belief in God is not a matter of proof, but rather a matter of faith. He argued that religious experiences can provide evidence for the existence of God, even if that evidence cannot be objectively verified. Alvin Plantinga. American philosopher Alvin Plantinga has argued that belief in God can be justified even if there is no objective evidence for God's existence. He argues that belief in God is a basic belief, similar to our beliefs in the external world or the existence of other minds. Swami Vivekananda. Indian Hindu monk and philosopher Swami Vivekananda argued that the existence of God can be known through direct experience, or what he called realization. He argued that through practices such as meditation and yoga, individuals can come to directly experience the divine. Martin Buber. Jewish philosopher Martin Buber argued that the existence of God cannot be proven or disproven, but rather is a matter of relationship. He argued that individuals can come to know God through authentic relationships with other people, which he called I-thou relationships. Karl Marx. German philosopher Karl Marx argued that belief in God is a product of social and economic conditions, and that it will eventually disappear as human societies progress. He argued that religion serves as a form of social control, used by those in power to maintain their authority. Stephen Hawking. British physicist Stephen Hawking argued that the laws of physics make it unnecessary to invoke God to explain the origins of the universe. He argued that the universe can be explained through natural, scientific processes, without the need for a creator. Sam Harris, American neuroscientist and philosopher Sam Harris has argued that it is possible to have a rational, scientific approach to spirituality, without belief in God. He argues that practices such as meditation and mindfulness can have psychological and emotional benefits, even if they do not involve belief in the supernatural. In conclusion, the question of whether God exists or not has been debated for centuries by scientists, philosophers, and scholars. On one hand, some argue that the complexity and orderliness of the universe, along with the existence of consciousness, provide evidence for a divine creator. Others argue that the existence of suffering and evil in the world, as well as the lack of empirical evidence, make it unlikely that God exists. There are also various philosophical arguments for and against the existence of God, such as the cosmological argument, ontological argument, and problem of evil. These arguments have been debated for centuries and are still not settled. Furthermore, there are different religious and cultural perspectives on the existence of God, which further complicates the question. Some religions posit the existence of multiple gods or no God at all. Overall, the question of whether God exists or not remains a matter of faith and personal belief. While science and philosophy can provide insights and arguments, they cannot definitively prove. Thank you for watching this video and exploring the question of whether God exists or not with us. We hope that the arguments and insights presented here have given you a better understanding of this complex and timeless debate. If you have found this video interesting or thought-provoking, we encourage you to continue your own research and exploration of this topic. There are many books, articles, and videos available that delve deeper into the various arguments and perspectives surrounding the existence of God. Ultimately, whether you believe in the existence of God or not is a deeply personal decision that each of us must make for ourselves based on our own experiences, beliefs, and values. We encourage you to approach this question with an open mind and a willingness to learn and grow. Thank you again for watching, and please feel free to share your own thoughts and opinions in the comments below.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel.